Good morning. Got a late start on my bike ride today. It's only like 5:45. Just cruising around my hood on my way out. So I do attempt to ride every single bit of my neighborhood every single day. And one of the main reasons is because I'm the one that reports all of the street lights that are not functioning. So I end up calling into Duke Energy. Well, I do it online. I report them into Duke Energy and they come out and they fix them. Otherwise, you end up with some really dark spots. And that's not too bad under normal circumstances, but come around times like Halloween, when all the kids are out, you kind of want every single street light working. Not that people don't know what's going on, but much nicer if they can see everything that's going on also. So, looking at the houses that are occupied and foreclosed on. Oh, there's one. A bunch of houses recently sold. There's 85 houses in our development. Something like that. Yeah, 85. And I am not on the HOA board here, although at some point I may end up. The last place that we used to live was a small subdivision of a larger one, and each one of the subdivisions had its own HOA, and I was ultimately ended up being the president of that HOA. That was only 37 homes. We only had 3 people on the board. This one has 5 people on the board for 85 homes. It was a interesting mix before last fall. It was 4 gentlemen, shall we say, and 1 female, and it was a decent representation of what was going on, but I don't know, it just didn't work out for the one lady that was on the board. I think she ended up ended up resigning from the board. I know there were some health issues involved. I'm not sure if it was with her or with a family member or what, but she stepped aside. She still helps out now and then, but she stepped aside. Okay, so we just passed the chiropractor. I'm curious as why businesses would not. Oh, hold on. We got crap in the road. I don't like having crap in the road. Doors or something? I have no idea. But I don't like crap in the road. I think there's more up here. Because if there's crap in the road, actually it's not in the travel lane for motor vehicles, it's only in the travel lane for bicycles. So of course, what's going to happen? The bicycles are going to be the one that swerve to go around it, enter into the travel lane, and then what's going to happen? And the bicyclist gets hit, and they get blamed because they changed lanes. Yeah, well, I just as soon not have that scenario. And all right, I get these couple of pieces out, and then I'm done. Because I know what's going to happen. It end up being me that gets hit. That's my luck on the bike. I've well, that sucked. Okay. Not sure what I caught, but I flipped myself over. All right, I gotta take a bunch of shit out of here. Well, let's see if we can get my chain back on. That is on. Cool. Trying to figure out what was ticking. Oh, I know why. That was fun. I gotta figure out how I went over. I think it was like my chain got caught or something. Got folded over. Oh well. Ah, there we go. So I always ride with the, well, almost always, I ride with the front derailleur on the highest possible gear, and I use the rear derailleur primarily, except for when I'm stopping at a traffic light or ending my ride type of a scenario. Well, that was fun. So, it's a fairly boring ride. I go about 7 kilometers, give or take, 4.5 miles in a combination of a bike lane and a sidewalk till I get to the trail that goes across county. Now, why do I ride the sidewalk? It's because there's a stretch that's about 1 kilometer long that does not have a bike lane. And even though the law here states that you must keep at least 3 feet between motor vehicle and a bicyclist, many times that is not adhered to, and I just don't feel safe. So even though it's a little bumpier and so forth, I choose to try to protect my wife a little bit. I take some chances, but when I have A versus B, and A is ultimately you're going to get hit, and B is highly unlikely you're ever going to get hit, I go with B. So this is a big park. It's quite long. I'm not sure how deep it is. I've never actually gone through it to find out how deep, but there's a whole bunch of baseball, softball fields. There's a bunch of football pitches / soccer fields, whatever you want to call them. Basketball courts, tennis courts. I don't think there's any pickleball court here, but way far up the trail, at about 12 miles up the trail, there's a park that they had a bunch of fields for baseball, softball, football, soccer, that sort of a thing. And it was also a dog park off to the one end. Well, they expanded the parking lot for the dog park, and then way in the back they put in, I don't know, 6 or 8, maybe even 10 tennis courts. I think they're lighted, and you know, another restroom facility in there, and some of the courts might be dedicated pickleball courts, I believe. So yes, that was an overpass that we just pedestrian overpass because of the elementary school on the other side of the street. Probably a wise idea, even though there are traffic lights with crosswalks at either end of this block. It makes more sense to have something dedicated like that. Okay. There we go. Oh, yeah. Let's see. There's not really many businesses along my route. It's almost all residential. There was the chiropractor on the main drag. Then you saw the Walgreens on the corner. Now it's all homeowners associations and so forth. Lots of people. Lots of people with kids. So there's the elementary school that we went past on the main drag. And then up here at the next traffic light, if you make a left, which I don't, and you go down, I don't know, probably close to a kilometer, there's high school down there. I don't know where the middle school is. I do believe it is not just elementary and high school. I think there is a middle schools in this district. I don't know. Never had a child in the school district. And I don't go past them, so who knows? That bridge that we just went over was rebuilt that they just finished about a year ago. It took them a year to rebuild the bloody thing. Oh, it was ugly. They closed off one lane at a time, so the traffic was holding, sharing the northbound or the southbound 2 lanes while they worked on the other part. I still can't figure out why it took so long to rebuild it. Absolutely crazy. Well, a couple 3 months to rebuild a bridge should be fine. Not like they took the whole thing down and put it back up. But whatever. So yes, if you turn at this light to the left, you get to the high school. And normally there's a crossing guard that sits here. In the mornings. When I come back through here at 6:45 a.m. And of course the crossing guard can control the lights and it becomes a pain. But that leads me into the whole school bus scenario. Oh, anyway, that crossing guard. I've lived here for 5 years. I think it's actually the same crossing guard the whole time. For the first year or more, I would wave at him, never wave back. Cars honk and beep at him, buses beep at him. He waves at cars, he waves at buses all the time, even without them honking. He's constantly waving at motor vehicles. Not once has he ever acknowledged me on my bicycle. I'm not sure why. Oh, great. And it's starting to rain a little bit. Oh well. It's just a light mist. Not a big deal. So anyway, the school buses. They're, for the most part, pretty good. Most of them keep a safe distance from me. Every once in a while you get one that rides within 2 feet of me. And yes, I do ride approximately in the middle of the bike lane. I do not ride over here. And the reason for that is there is 10 times as much garbage and debris over there as there is here. And why is that a factor? Well, it's a factor because I'm sick and tired of getting flat tires. All the debris that lands in the road, cars end up kicking it up. And cars regularly will cross over into the bicycle lanes, which means that this first half of it is, shall we say, clear, because cars drive there regularly. The other half of it is debris ridden. It's crazy. It's just crazy. Today I'm just going to do a very long video showing the whole 20 plus minutes until I get on the trail. Yeah, there's some ugly clouds out there. Looks fine back towards where I was. Looks a little moisture laden in the general direction that I'm going off. Well, to me, my left right now. Oh well. So I get wet, it's just water. Oh yes. The telephone lines that aren't properly attached up in the loops. But curious, how many people out there actually still have a landline in their house? We had a landline in our house when we lived in New Jersey. We left there in 2005. My roommate had a landline, so I used to live here in Florida and work up in New Jersey. So I'd spend 2 weeks approximately up in New Jersey, going into the office every day, and then 2 weeks working remotely from Florida. And there was a lot of other remote workers that only came in 2 or 3 days a week, and like them, I was just coming in as much as I needed to. Now, if there was something that was really important, I would be in the office. Otherwise, I could work remote. I loved working remote. You know, beginning of the year, January, and I was out back on Mile Nye working in bare feet because it was warm. Other people were up there bundled up with much snow on the ground. So anyway, for 2005 through 2017, I rented a room from a friend of mine up there. And she had a landline and a cell phone. She was an IT geek. Worked for places like Oracle, Microsoft, which is where she ultimately retired from. And when we moved down to Florida, part of our HOA fees for the master board, not the little one that I was on, because it was, you know, over 600 people, 600 homes on the master board. They made a deal with the local cable company to provide basic cable, internet through the cable, and a voice over IP line for every phone as part of our HOA dues. So, although we did have a home phone at my last house, it was entirely voice over IP. I think you could have an option to put in an actual hardwired landline if you wanted, but I don't know of anybody that ever did. So when I come through here during the school year, depending on what time it is, this right here is a school bus stop. And the kids all hang out right here. And they block the sidewalks. So I end up having to go down, as you see on the road over here, this stretch of road. That's why I was on the sidewalk earlier. It's because there is no bike lane here.